to the American Football Institute Sports Channel with former National Football League defensive tackle and now an NFL consultant, Chris Mamalanga.
Hello. Welcome to the American Football Institute. My name is Chris Mamalanga. I'm your host and founder of the American Football Institute. Tonight we have a very special guest, and we're very excited. Somebody who's near and dear to my heart from my hometown of Los Angeles, California, more specifically from Inglewood and from Hawthorne, California. None other than Mr. Simi Moala. Simi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Chris.
Man, thank you for making it on. I know with school and spring ball and everything going on with you over there in Jackson, Mississippi, I know your schedule's got to be pretty busy. But even though you're real busy with school and with your family and with football, I'm thankful and appreciative that you made it on tonight. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So we'll just get right into it, Simi. You're over there in Jackson, Mississippi. Let's go ahead and get the obvious out of the way. You're a starter at the University of Utah, and now you've entered the transfer portal as a graduate, meaning you already have your undergraduate degree, and now you've transferred to Jackson, Mississippi. Let us know. Let everybody know how everything's going for you over there in Jackson, Mississippi.
Man, right now we had a little tornado warning just happened about 30 minutes ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's something.
Did you hear the sirens and everything?
Oh man, I was surprised. I was telling my wife, I was like, "Man, do you hear the sirens that's going on, or is it just me?" So we looked it up on Google, and it's like, yeah, the whole city just rings the sirens, and they let the whole city know that there's a tornado coming on. But it was a little tornado that came around, and it just went past. Good thing it went past us, though.
You didn't get that in Salt Lake, huh?
Nah, no sirens, nothing like that.
I know we definitely didn't get that in LA, and we get sirens. We get a lot of sirens, but for a different reason. Right? We get the sirens, we get the ghetto bird, and they have the ghetto bird over there in Mississippi.
Man, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't seen it.
For those
they got the other type of sirens too.
For those of you guys who are not familiar with the ghetto bird here in LA, that's the helicopter that patrols the city, and also uses a big old bright light to go chase LA's most wanted. So so are you in spring ball now, huh?
Yeah, we're about a couple days into spring ball now. Spring ball,
right.
Good.
Have you guys put the pads on yet?
Yeah, this is about 3-4 days now going on with the pads. Yeah, it's kind of different over here though. We had to move a day ahead because of the storm. So we had to go ahead and get an extra day in before the storm came. So we got 2 days off now, but good thing we got it in before the storm came.
So what's the biggest difference so far from spring ball in Salt Lake City at the University of Utah and spring ball in Jackson, Mississippi with Neon Dion as your head coach?
Yeah, man, I know there's a lot of people have been asking me that question, and they see the whole media and everything that's going on with Jackson State. It's basically what the media is showing. I think the difference is we don't have the resources that a Power 5 school has of like facilities or training table or the training rehabs and stuff like that. But we don't have the resources that a Power 5 or a bigger school has. But I think with having Coach Dion, is with all the sponsors that he's getting and stuff, we're able to not have the same, but come close to what those Power 5 schools have. And it's just basically if you love football, you got to come to Jackson State, because if you don't love football, then, man, you're not going to survive out here.
Definitely. Well, I'll tell you what, even myself, I wasn't as familiar with HBCUs, which stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. Myself, I mean, I had a couple friends that went to Grambling and
Yeah.
Howard and schools like that, and even Southern. But in general, even Clark in Atlanta. But in general, we don't hear a lot about HBCUs, right?
Nah,
Um,
well, I was surprised to find out we have one in LA, I think. That's what they said. That's
oh,
just what,
really?
yeah, that's just what I heard. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
true or not, but
Well, it makes sense. I mean, based on what you just said about resources, the schools in the Power Five, they get all the TV contracts and they
yeah,
got all the high-powered donors and alumni base, and so it makes sense that some of these smaller schools, HBCUs, you can throw NAI in there and Division III, Division II, and those type of programs. They definitely don't have the resources that Power Five schools have.
yeah.
So, Simi, typically here on the show, we spend time with coaches, with players, with former players, and kind of the goal is we want to promote American football because our audience we're talking to are domestically here in the U.S. and in Hawaii and in Alaska, but also we have folks chiming in from places like New Zealand and Australia and Fiji and Samoa, Tonga, even the UK. We've had people comment from places as far as Europe and South Africa. So um, please give us a little snapshot of who you are, kind of your family background, where you're raised, kind of your personal bio, if you will.
Oh yeah. Uh, my name is Simi Moala, obviously as it's shown. Um, grew up in Los Angeles, California. Both parents are from the island of Tonga. Um, both came from the island and raised us here in Los Angeles. I'm not sure why they chose Los Angeles. They could have chose anywhere else, but Los Angeles is home. Um, uh, grew up and I have three older brothers, and they all played American football. And I would always see them come home with their little trophies and all their little gold medals. So I always had football there, and I always remember going to my older brother's games and just seeing the rivalry between Losinger and Hawthorne. I was like, man, these people like really fight, and sometimes they even shoot over it. So it was just good to see that how much football played a role in growing up in my life, and then just being able to see that, I wanted to play football too, but I was more of just playing just because that's just what you do in LA. It was just something to do. I didn't really have let's say like some kids that I know that are like passionate about it. They always wanted to play. I just played because everybody else played.
Right.
Just speaking um, honestly about it until this, Chris, until junior year, until my first offer came from the University of Miami, and then coaches and yourself were telling me like, well, Miami wants to offer you a full ride scholarship. At the time, I didn't know what a full ride scholarship was. I was just playing just to play. Um, and then when you kind of broke it down to me, they said they pay for everything. Your parents don't have to touch a dime. You go to college, play football, and you can go to school for free. And then that's when everything started to eventually click for me. Like, oh, okay, now I got to take this and be more serious about this.
Right.
And eventually, that's when I ended up at Utah.
Right. And then prior to Utah, you actually served a 2-year mission. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So I decided to put football off to a hold and go serve a full time mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter day Saints. I was fortunate enough to be called to serve back in the island of Tonga, where my parents are from. Um, I didn't make it to Nakolo, unfortunately, but I did make it to my dad's village, and that's La Paja. And It was such a blessing for me. I think it was more for me than more for the people of Toma. It was a humbling experience. Even to this day, I still have life lessons that I learned from being back home. I remember always coming home and thinking, man, we don't got no food at home, but man, that's the real definition of no food at home. Being in Toma.
Yeah, there's a difference between being hungry and being and starving, right?
Yeah, I feel like when I was at home, I just choose to be home. Man, I don't eat that chicken and rice. My mom made that yesterday.
Yeah.
But then over there, man, I used to just sit there and think like, man, if I could just have my mom's chicken and rice every day, I'll be set.
Yeah, it's interesting, here in the States and in other countries that are blessed with, so much opportunity and so much resources and food, Australia, New Zealand, all these US, Canada, Europe. There's so many countries that are, blessed. And when you're raised in the US and those type of countries, you don't have that perspective where, kind of the reason why we left the island to come to this country was really two reasons. It was for an education and for an opportunity. And that's kind of why I love American football, because it affords us both an opportunity and an education. And so you went on your mission, but prior to going on your mission, Simi, you actually signed your scholarship before you left.
I did. I signed to Oregon State under Coach Anderson before I left.
The Beavers, Oregon State Beavers.
Yeah, Oregon State Beavers. And then when I came back, I guess there's certain rules when it comes to missionaries. Rules on, I guess, after a year it becomes invalid. So then you become open again, basically. And when I came back, BYU and Utah were the only schools left who were offering me a full ride scholarship still. And the
I think
only
it's important. It's important to know that the coach that signed you at Oregon State, Coach Anderson, left Oregon State,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so that's what created that void, right?
yeah. He ended up leaving Oregon State and he went to Utah as a D-line coach. So um, some of the Utah coaches ended up reaching out to me towards the end of my mission. And the only determining factor was between BYU and Utah was if I go to Utah, at least I get to go home once a year because they play USC, UCLA. And that gives a chance for my family to see me guaranteed once a year. So I
Yeah.
wanted, even though BYU being a church school and all, it's a great school, both great schools, I wanted to go home and play in the Coliseum and let my family see me.
Right. And it's been so refreshing to watch your journey. Going from a skinny defensive end, 200 and 220 pounds,
Man,
and now how much do you weigh now?
about 310 now.
310, 6'7".
6'7".
6'7". That's
Yeah.
awesome, man. And really enjoyed watching you start at Utah. And I know things didn't work out quite as well for you as you would hope for with the situation that you experienced at Utah. And I know you made a lot of good friends over there. Your brother and a lot of family out there. But this is kind of a fresh start for you.
Yeah.
And so super excited for that, Simi. And so you have three older brothers?
3 older brothers.
And you're in the middle?
I'm right in the middle, and then 3 younger sisters below me.
So
Family
there's
of
7 total?
Family of 7. I'm right in the middle.
All right. Nice. That's awesome, man. I know I've got a chance to know both your parents. Very sweet family, and I know they support you greatly. And looking forward to much more success in your future. You also have an addition to your family, huh, Simi? You want to talk about SJ a little bit?
Yeah. So when I was at Utah, I met my wife over there, and we ended up getting married, and we have a little son. His name is SJ. He's 1. He's about to turn 2 in a few months.
He's about 6 foot already.
Man, he's probably taller than that already. getting huge on me. It's funny because
Man, they
my wife took him, man, he exceeds the charts for the baby already. He exceeds
yeah.
all the chart, height, feet, all that.
There's not a whole lot of people, and I know you come from a tall family anyway, but there's not a whole lot of 6, 7 people walking around this earth. And most of them play in the NBA, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Simi, we're gonna go over. We have a couple of questions. I know your time is valuable. You gotta get to SJ and to your beautiful wife and spend some time before you gotta get it all over again with spring ball tomorrow. But we'll get started, Simi, and let me go over a couple of these questions we put together. When did you realize that American football could be a beneficial pathway for you for your future?
Yeah, like I mentioned before, it was up. It finally clicked when transitioning from my junior year to my senior year in high school. Like I said before, I was just playing just to play. That's what everybody in the city does, is just play football. That's another thing to do until school started calling and coming home to visit my parents and visit me at home. That's when I realized, like, oh, my parents don't have the money to pay for college. I don't have the money to pay for college. But if I use this football tool, I can get to college and play and go to school for free. Uh, and I feel like it was a benefit for me. I graduated and now next spring I'll be leaving college with my master's degree.
That's awesome, man. To go from growing up in the hood, Inglewood, always up to no good, in Hawthorne, California, and now in about a year's time, you're gonna have not only have you already achieved your undergraduate bachelor's, you're about to get your master's on top of that, which is
Yeah.
awesome, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I think I want to correct you a little bit, Simi. I know we say this a lot as former athletes and current athletes. We say we don't have to pay for anything, but I try to emphasize that you pay with your sweat equity
Oh yeah.
and with your time. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
it's not free, but you got to go to class,
Yeah.
you got to go to weights, you got to go
Study
to
hall.
treatment,
Yeah.
study hall. So they get it out of you,
Yeah.
and especially at the Power 5 level,
Yeah.
the amount of money that these schools make in football revenue pales in comparison to the scholarships that they're giving. Would you agree?
I totally agree.
Yeah,
100%.
you got the Pac-12 network, you got ESPN, you got all these
Yeah.
networks that are making money on the backs of these kids, and that's one of the reasons why I'm a big fan of this NIL movement and transfer portal. Which, you know, if coaches are going to get paid millions of dollars, you might as well let the players make a little bread too, right?
Yeah. It's
And if these schools are going
one of
to make
those
all this money,
it's one of those talks that happens often in the locker room. It's what we call the locker room talk. We're like, man, we wish we had this and this. Why don't they pay us this? And then it's just one of those, if I can recall back then, one of those good locker room talks with some of the boys.
well, as times have changed and times have progressed, there's so much money involved. What I try to let people know about football is that the NFL is what gets a lot of the attention worldwide. But there's only 32 teams in the NFL. But in college football, there's over 100 Division I teams. So college football is way more revenue as a whole being created, than than even pro sports. So the fact that you're part of that 1%, Simi, and you were able to, transition from a graduate to now working on your master's and continuing your journey is super exciting, man. I know your family's super proud of you.
Yeah.
We'll go on to our next question, Simi. What are some of the life lessons that you have learned through the game of American football?
Uh, I think when I hear this question, the first thing that comes to mind is just being tough. Uh, Everyone knows my dad in the city. He's a tough, loving guy. He always trains us to be tough and in whatever situation that you do. But I think playing this game of football, it taught me to be tough, um, on my own, away from my dad, and resilient. Um, when times hit hard, um, to just always get back up on your feet and find another way, find another route. If this way don't work, find the other way, find the back door. But I feel like football is just one of those sports that teaches you a lot in life. But just when I hear the question, the first thing I think about is just being tough and being resilient when life hits you hard.
Yeah, and you make a great point. I mean, toughness, is not just physical toughness. We're talking about mental toughness and spiritual toughness, right?
Yeah,
And, be able to take on those shots that life will throw your way. It's crucial that you're tough, you know. So, yeah, and then the resilience. I couldn't agree with you more. It was a great answer, Simi. Thank you.
yeah.
We'll go on to our next question, Sim. Who are some of the positive influences or influencers in your life that motivate you to work hard on and off the field?
I think this question just leads all back to home. My parents, my wife, my son. Just like whenever I feel like those days where you just don't want to go, or it's hard to get up at 6 a.m. I feel like um, I just can think back to. I just look over to my left. I see my wife there. Or I just think about my parents, and I just think about my son, and it just turns on. I have a on my screensaver on my phone. I have my son right there. So every morning I wake up. I always try to look at him. Even when I'm in the locker room lacing up my cleats, I look at it and I just be like, man, go get it. Just you got to push for him. So I feel like it just comes back to home. There's no one really like famous or got a lot of money now. It just comes all go back to home. Just thinking about my parents, my immediate family.
That's
Pushes
awesome,
me
man.
to
And I
strive.
know, yeah, I've witnessed your dad. I mean, he's a grinder, and your mom as well. She gets after it. And as we know in the big city atmosphere, the hustle is real. You
Yeah,
know, if you're not out there trying to get after it, you know, uh, things can go sideways real quick. You know, and so I'm sure a lot of those qualities that you mentioned earlier definitely go right back to home, and the fact that you can use that as motivation is great, Simi. That's good stuff. We'll go on to our next question. What's your American football goal now? As a former Division One Power Five starter from the University of Utah, and now as a graduate transfer to Jackson State University.
I think the one main goal that we all have in playing this sport is trying to make it to that level of professionalism. I think everybody in college football right now has that dream of being an NFL player and one day providing for their family. Um, that's something that I want to do, and that's the main goal right now. Um, is trying to make it to that level. Uh, I feel like it was trying to graduate because I thought it was hard, but if you just go to school and go to study hard, you can pass school. You just got to show up to class on time and all that. But it was graduated. But now that I did that, I feel like I think I got to take that next step. And my main goal right now is trying to make it to the NFL.
That's awesome, Shimi. And I truly believe that not only can you make it to the NFL, I feel just from witnessing and watching you over the years, you have the God given size and talent to make it to that level. And look, the bottom line is you got your education and you're covering that. Why not try both? Why not,
Yeah,
go after it? And look, if it doesn't happen, you can be a pro at something because now you have credentials. You have a bachelor's degree and soon to be master's degree. And that's kind of why I love the American football system is that the scouting of professional players, there's no minor leagues. There's
Yeah.
no club leagues. Everything is done from the university system. And so you go to university, you play and go to school, and then the best of the best will get an opportunity. There's no doubt in my mind, Simi, if you continue to grind, we'll see you on Sundays as well. Who's your favorite team growing up? NFL team.
My favorite NFL team is whichever team I get drafted to, or NFL first. Nah, but growing up,
That's a good business answer.
yeah,
We'll save that. We'll save that answer for the combine and for
yeah.
the scouts. But growing
Nah,
up, like what were the teams that caught your attention growing up?
growing up, I was a Chargers fan. I still am a Chargers fan. Simply
Chargers.
because I wanted a team from California, but then 49ers had a lot of bandwagons. And then the Raiders were just owing whatever. But during my time growing up, the Rams were still in St. Louis, so I went to San Diego and I fell in love with the Chargers. Then when I came back from my mission, I found out they moved to LA, and I was like, oh, they're great. And they're the home team now. Everybody's Rams fans, so
I feel like the Chargers are like the stepkids of LA now.
yeah. Everyone labels them as like the Clippers of LA.
Well, the thing about it is LA is kind of like a Raider town,
Yeah,
just from back in the NWA days and when they
yeah,
won the Super Bowl back in the late 80s with, Marcus Allen and Howie Long and those guys. And then for the Chargers, when Junior Seau was with the Chargers, I wouldn't necessarily call myself a Chargers fan growing up, but I was definitely a Junior Seau fan. He represented the Pacific Island people of Samoa as well, of course, very well. And sadly, rest in peace, Junior Seau. But did you follow 55 at all?
No, I didn't follow 55. The only reason why I picked the team was because I needed a team from California, and I remember when my brothers were playing Madden, we were playing the little rushing attack. You run the ball, or the running back runs the ball, and I remember just seeing this Charger Bolt sign, and I clicked it, and it was LaDainian Tomlinson. It was LT, and he was fast. He can cut through everywhere, so that's why I always liked the Chargers. I just remember growing up watching it on Madden.
Nice. Well, you're right. This time next year, your favorite team is going to be whoever drafts you, right?
Yeah, or whatever team I end up on, that's who I'm going to go with.
Yeah, I grew up when the Raiders won. I grew up in LA when the Raiders won the Super Bowl, and they were in El Segundo, California, their headquarters, which is right next to Hawthorne, right
Yeah,
next to Inglewood. And so, at the same time, the hip hop group NWA, Ice Cube and all those guys are wearing Raiders gear. So that's how I became a fan of the Raiders. Um, but the vast majority of my family and friends, my wife, kid, they're all 49er fans.
man. Every Polynesian or Tongan that I know is a 49ers fan. They got the hat.
Yeah.
Man, I can't do it.
But let me tell you this. When the 49ers draft you, guess what your favorite team's going to be?
Go Niners. Go Niners after that.
Exactly. But I look forward to that part of your journey. You still got some unfinished business to do there at Jackson State, and super exciting stuff, man. Let's go on to our next question. What can you share with future football players and fellow Polynesian athletes about your experience at the HBCU level, Jackson State University? There's not a lot of people who understand what Jackson State is and HBCU. What can you kind of say? I mean, this is your chance to promote Jackson State and HBCUs in general, because I think, right now as the Power Fives are realigning their conferences, I feel like the HBCUs might be another option for players, especially they had the number 1 or number 2 recruit in the nation signed with Jackson State. Was he a DB or something like that?
Yeah, he's a DP. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you got that big time receiver
Yeah,
that signed with Jackson State. Of course, they got you. I personally was shocked
yeah,
when you picked Jackson State because obviously I'm a big fan of your work and your journey. But look, it doesn't really matter where you're at. It matters what you do with what you get, where
yeah,
you go.
yeah. Um, I feel like even today, I'm still trying to figure it out and wiggle my way through the HBCU life. One thing I do know is um, our African American brothers and sisters, they love to party, they love to eat. So at HBCU, it's different from walking around in campus Utah, but they'll have a party right there on campus. You walk outside the football field, there's a party, a DJ going on right there. There's loud music, there's food going on. But even
It's,
today,
it's safe to say it's safe to say that the vibe is a little different, huh?
it's a lot different out here in the South. A lot
You mean
different.
you mean to tell me that the vibe in Salt Lake City is a little bit different than Jackson, Mississippi?
No, it's a lot different. Especially going to HBCU. Is just growing up, I never heard of HBCU. Growing up, west on the West Coast, we see USC, UCLA, we see even lower divisions are like other schools, San Diego State. We see other schools like that. We don't hear about Jackson State, Grambling, or other schools in the SWAC. So I feel like this decision was. I thought about it. I thought it was just going to be more than bigger than me and beyond me. I feel like this will open the door to more Polynesians to find a home at a HBCU if other places don't work out, or take a chance like Travis did, the number one recruit, and come and flip from Florida State to Jackson State. But it's definitely different here in Jackson, Mississippi. The vibes are different. The culture is different. It's a historically black college university, so everyone from the president of the school down to the janitors, they're all African American. So I'm walking around the only Polynesian on campus, so everyone's just looking like, man, this guy Indian or he's some type of race. We never seen him before. So
You just a light skinned brother.
yeah, that's what they call me now. And to think about it, you from LA, and I was like, I'm from LA. Like, man, you light skinned brother. So that's all they be saying.
Look, at the end of the day, if they're showing you love and they're helping you achieve something that you wouldn't have achieved otherwise, you have to embrace that.
Yeah,
And look, if you really look at it closely, there's multiple Hall of Famers that have come out of the HBCU system.
yeah,
Um, Doug Williams was a Super Bowl MVP with the Washington Redskins from Grambling. Aeneas Williams, who I played with in Arizona Cardinals, he went to Southern. There's so many great players that have come from HBCUs. And the NFL, to be honest, yeah, it doesn't have the same kind of funding behind it, but the NFL doesn't care about funding. They care about winning.
yeah,
And if you can ball at that level, Tennessee State or Jackson State or Grambling or Southern or Texas Southern, and there's so many great HBCUs out there. I'm glad that you took that chance, and I'm glad that you continued your journey of success in American football to achieve your big goal, which is, what's the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal, really, for me, is to live a good life,
yeah,
right? And living a good life doesn't have to be the NFL, but if the NFL are in the cards, hey, why not, right?
yeah,
Especially the way they paying guys nowadays, you might as well go and get your grind on.
yeah.
Yep. Well, good stuff, man. We typically end our questions with kind of 3 tips, and that's kind of the last part of our show tonight. Can you share with us, Simi, your big 3 tips / advice for aspiring athletes outside the USA or domestically wanting to succeed in American football? What's your big three?
Um, the big three. I think just from experience and growing up, I feel like just talking to our Polynesian brothers out there, or any of our young brothers out there, to take the laziness out, try to get rid of it early. I feel like our people we're just born with it. So if you're watching this and you think it's just me, no, it's all of us. We all have it. But I feel like if we can just knock it out early, and just when you feel like you don't want to do it, that's the moment you trade yourself, your brain, your body to go get it. I feel like what I'm trying to say with that being said is try to knock that laziness out early, because I still struggle with it even today sometimes. So I feel like knock the laziness out. Um, Listen to your parents. I know we hear that a lot growing up from it, but it's true. You gotta listen to them. Sometimes we think our parents are from the islands, they're fobs, they don't understand the way the American dream and life it goes, but nah, we're wrong. So I just listen to your parents, listen to coaches, mentors that you have, because they did it. If they can do it again, I'm sure they'll do it again. But they try to live it through us. So I feel like just be a great listener, knock out the laziness, and uh, last tip I believe is um, just never give up. Life's gonna hit you left, right, up and down, but you can't give up. I struggle with a few things in my life. Just going through the process of alone of having a child and stuff. It gets tough out there, and sometimes it gets to the point where you just want to quit everything, go back home, but just don't give up. Find that urge, find whatever it is that's pushing you to continue and to keep fighting and feed off of that and just keep pushing because it's bright at the end. So I feel like the three tips, if I could just sum up everything, is don't be lazy. Listen to mentors, parents, coaches, those before you, and just work hard.
Thank you, Simi. I look forward to your continued success. Thank you for being a beacon. Getting your degree, means so much to our community here in Los Angeles. And I know it should resonate with a lot of folks from similar backgrounds, whether they're from, the island of Aotearoa in New Zealand, or whether they're from the island of Fiji or Samoa or Tonga, knowing that, that there's some little coconuts floating out there in the ocean, the different um, areas of life, where we can sprout and create our own pathway. So the fact that you graduated from college, you started multiple games and years at the Power Five level, and now you've transitioned, going after your master's degree, and also taking care of your family at the same time. That's very commendable, and I'm proud of you, Simi. I really am. You set a high standard for a lot of our youth that then maybe they get a little bit lazy or don't feel like training.
Yeah,
Can't do it. You gotta get up and go train. Or maybe they want to be Mr. Know-It-All and not listen to their parents because they're fobs.
yeah,
The thing I would say to kids in New Zealand, Australia, and the U.S. is that those same five parents are the ones that fed and raised your butt all
yeah,
these years.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So, imagine going to another country, not speaking the language, but still bring home enough to feed the family and pay the bills. That's, to me, that's a true warrior right there. And that warrior is not just masculine. I'm talking about women too.
yeah,
You know, super exciting stuff. And then never give up and work hard for sure. those three tips will definitely be helpful to any aspiring future football player, whether it's the high school level, college level, or even getting up to the pro level. So, are there any final words, Simi, that you want to share before we close this evening? I know you got to get back to the family over there. Here, we're 2 hours difference from the West Coast here in LA, and you over there in Jackson, Mississippi. Any final closing words you'd like to part ways with or leave us with?
No, just want to express my love and gratitude to you, Chris, and thank you for everything you've done for me. On behalf of uh, my older brother and I, we know what happened and what goes on with that. Want to give a shout out to American Football Institute and um, just the things they're doing and that you guys are doing for our community and just for our Polynesians and other young athletes. Um, just just want to express my gratitude to you guys and appreciate this for the opportunity to have me on live tonight.
Thank you, Simi. And again, we're very appreciative and thank you for those kind words. You know, to be able to watch your journey is, as you know, is a pleasure for me because you never stopped. You know, in every area of your life, even though it was tough or even though it was difficult, you found, you know, your purpose and your reason why to continue. And that's really what we want from our kids. You know, you don't have to be any particular thing. You just want to maximize your opportunity. For us who love that violence and that gladiator sport of American football, you know, football is the way for us. You know, and Simi, I'd like to ask you a favor to like and subscribe. Where is it? Somewhere around here on our YouTube channel and our Facebook. Please follow us. And we're here every week on Wednesday evenings. And thank you so much, Simi. I appreciate you.
Thank you.